Woonsocket.
The views expressed on the following program are those of its host and participants and in no way reflect those of the staff or management of WNRI.
This is Veterans News Radio, getting to the heart of Veterans Affairs. A program dedicated to unveiling the truth in a relentless pursuit of justice on behalf of veterans. Coming to you live from Rhode Island to the world with your host, High Speed Sal.
Welcome back to VNR Veterans News Radio right here on 1380 WNRI in the wonderful city of Woonsocket, Rhode Island. And let's not forget it's a wonderful state as well. We finally have daylight coming on, which is wonderful. And I guess we're high power tonight finally. Is that right?
So. I would think so.
So this means that we're getting from infinity and beyond? Really? Cool. Even though we got the internet. Anyway, we're going to have an open mic night tonight. Tonight's night to everybody sound off. Anything that anybody has something to say, you got a gripe, a grudge, whatever, we want to listen. I'll be taking notes, and I have my little black book ready to go after everybody. Anyway, I'm here with Devil Dog Dennis.
Good evening.
He tries to be the calm one of the group, but he just doesn't understand that he can be just as nuts. You should see some of the faces he makes.
I think we all can.
Anyway, what do we got going on, Dennis?
Well, it's the 16th of March, 2016 this evening. Beautiful Wednesday night. Today in history, 1984, CIA Station Chief William Buckley was kidnapped in Beirut by Lebanese militants. Today in 1988, President Ronald Reagan orders 3,000 troops to Honduras in support of the Nicaraguan soldiers that had crossed the Honduran border.
Mm-hmm.
And also today in 1988, a sad time for northern Iraq, where Saddam Hussein unleashed mustard gas, killing almost 5,000 Kurds in the north.
Mustard gas?
Yeah.
Where do you get that from?
I believe it was supplied by us while he was fighting the Iranians in the 70s.
Really?
Yeah.
So does this...
Even though mustard gas is outlawed by the Geneva Convention.
Yeah, and most of us that were at Fort Mac were also exposed to that stuff too, by the way. I wonder if we can get them on the Geneva Convention Act. That's an interesting concept. I never thought about that.
Mm.
Anyway, so I guess maybe we must have had receipts that they had weapons of mass destruction, huh? They can't see your head doing that. You have to answer.
Well, no comment.
No comment? You plead the fifth.
Yeah.
Did you have something to do with this?
No.
Well, that's what you're making it sound like.
In 1988, I was 5 years old. Thank you.
It doesn't matter. We'll find a way.
I was a pretty bad kid if I was selling mustard gas in 1988.
Anyway, yeah, it's quite an interesting thing to think about. Geneva Convention and all. We should look into that.
Now, something that is worrying today in Stars and Stripes, actually issued today, March 16th, 2016, the Assistant Commandant of the Marine Corps, General John Paxton, addressed lawmakers in Congress when was asked by the Senate Armed Services Committee about the force readiness of the U.S. Marine Corps in battle. And the general said, and I quote, "I worry about the capability and the capacity to win in a major fight somewhere else right now." And he said, citing a lack of training and equipment. Paxton, along with the vice chiefs of the Army, Navy, and Air Force, spoke to the Senate Committee on Readiness challenges facing each service after 15 years of continuous warfare and recent budget cuts.
Wow.
He said For Marines, units at home face the most risk because of fewer training opportunities with the best equipment deployed with forces overseas, and it would be these undertrained home units that would be called upon to respond in an unexpected crisis. It's a little worrisome for all of us.
But that's the Marines, though.
But he was also joined by the vice chiefs of the Army, Navy, and the Air Force in saying these things as well.
So we just basically opened our back door to everybody just by talking about it.
Well, Congress asked. It's his boss, so he's got to answer to his boss.
Okay. Well, for equipment, I know where they can get some. They can take it back from the police departments. It's the truth. And it's out there. Just take it back if you need it.
Amongst other places.
Huh?
Amongst other places.
Yeah, that's other places too, but that's one thing they can do. I mean, doesn't this perplex people out there just thinking about this? Seriously.
You know, speaking of force readiness, I came across this article this afternoon from yesterday. The force readiness of the VA, which we all know is understaffed and underfunded and underachieving lately. Lawmakers on
You're
Tuesday...
being too nice, Dennis. There's more words to say than just that.
Lawmakers
you
on
gotta say it.
Tuesday
Come on, man.
suggested Congress may have to redraft the initial legislation authorizing the Veterans Affairs Department to grant claims and compensation to Persian Gulf War veterans suffering from multi-symptom ailments, also known as Gulf War illness. As of right now, to date, the VA has denied more than 90% of veterans claiming Gulf War illness, according to Representative Ann McLean Custer, a Democrat from New Hampshire. The way they wrote this bill, it seems to be a catch-22. They are asking for documentation from the veterans through the VA that there is no medical or scientific proof to back up these documents, so it's almost a catch-22.
So they're not using any presumptive status on this stuff? I thought they had a lot of presumptives on this for Gulf War illness.
But then you have to back it up with paperwork that can't be backed up.
But that's why you have a presumptive.
Which is why they're trying to rehash this bill and figure it out.
This is stupid.
The other problem that they're having with this is that they've put a time limitation on it for the veterans, which I doubt many people would even know about. They've put a time limitation for the veteran to put in their claim by December 15th, 2016, or...
Forget it.
You're up the creek without a paddle, so to speak.
I was going to say something else, but okay.
Supposedly they're pushing more for a 5-year extension, but it is unclear as to whether or not Representative McDonald will... Sorry, Secretary McDonald
the secretary,
will actually go through with it.
Yeah, we'd probably have better luck with Ronald McDonald, but anyway... just by speaking with my own experience, you can get all sorts of illnesses much, much later because of certain things you were exposed to. I'm one of them.
Mm-hmm. I mean, how do you put a time frame on when somebody can get sick? When you're allowed to actually file that you're sick? If you get sick January 1st, 2017, according to this bill,
it's
no bueno.
No, not at all. Well, we need to fight this. I mean, we need to fight this as poison veterans as well. Obviously, everybody out there knows that I've been fighting for the Fort McClellan thing, but I think it's time we expand this. I really, really do. I mean, this is getting ridiculous. I mean, do you people out there, can you understand this? They're screwing us. And I hate to say this, but we're letting them do it. There's got to be something we can do. There has to be. I mean, this whole thing's getting ridiculous. I'm at a loss for words. I mean, I know my last trip down there a couple of weeks ago, that literally wrecked my health. I've been bad, for the past 2 weeks now, Dennis? Very bad. I'm talking about bad enough to have to stay in bed. And it's a big fight. I'm starting to learn that I can't do it on my own, and we need to get a lot of people together to do this. I'm just very upset at the situation. I'm sorry, guys, but this is very upsetting. I think we should go to break for a minute, Dennis. I need to get a breather real quick, okay? So we're gonna pay our bills right now, and we'll be right back. Thank you.
Veterans News Radio, brought to you by Midstate Gun Company, 1200 Tioga Avenue in Coventry, Rhode Island. A full-service firearms retailer for Rhode Island, offering a full line of firearms and accessories, from the industry classics to the latest innovations. They stock handguns, rifles, shotguns, and black powders, as well as accessories spanning from targets to cleaning supplies, cases to storage, ammo, mags, loaders, and Midstate also buys, consigns, and trades firearms. And now Midstate Gun Company proudly presents to you Rhode Island's first public indoor firing range, including 12 25-yard rifle and pistol lanes. Midstate Gun Company has RSOs, handgun, rifle, and shotgun qualified instructors, offering instructed range time, basic and advanced firearm classes, and free blue card testing. Whether you are new to the sport or a serious competitor, stop by Midstate Guns, 1200 Tioga Avenue, Coventry, Rhode Island. Call 401-615-0669 or email info@midstateguns.com. They'll be there with the help you need. Midstate Gun Company, proud sponsor of Veterans News Radio.
In a recent study, it was estimated that of the 300,000 U.S. veterans returning from the Middle East, that nearly 20% will experience post-traumatic stress disorder. And with the suicide rate being 3 times higher than the general population, an average of 18 will commit suicide each day. Although they have endured the battle abroad, for many veterans, the real fight begins upon their return home. Now more than ever, they need our help. To learn more on how you can volunteer at your local VA hospital, go to volunteer.va.gov.
Let me ask you a question. When you think of the American Legion, what comes to mind? Is it the way we fight daily for our veterans to get them the benefits they've earned through their service?
I work hard every day to make sure that our veterans get the benefits they deserve. I am the American Legion.
For nearly 100 years, the American Legion has been our nation's leading advocate for veterans and their families.
I am the American Legion.
This is today's American Legion.
To learn more, visit legion.org.
Rhode Island Uniform and Supply at 1395 Atwood Avenue, Suite 109 in Johnston, Rhode Island is Southern New England's center for police, fire, tactical, and outdoor apparel. Winter items are now on sale throughout the month of March. Great savings of 20% off all in-stock winter items right now. Nursing scrubs are now in stock as well. And if you don't see what you're looking for, they have many different styles and prints that can be ordered. So come check them out. Rhode Island Uniform and Supply Company, 1395 Atwood Avenue, Suite 109 in Johnston, Rhode Island. Open Monday 9 to 8 and Tuesday through Friday 9 to 5 p.m. Closed on weekend. Rhode Island Uniform and Supply, Johnston, Rhode Island. Proud sponsor of Veterans News Radio.
Welcome back to Veterans News Radio. Sorry about that, guys. I had to take a breather real quick because when I start hearing about certain things and I get very impassioned with things and, well, sometimes it just gets carried away with the health. But anyway, these next segments of the show, we're going to have an open mic and sound off.
And you can call us toll-free at 1-800-949-9674 or locally at 401-769-0600.
And remember, people, sound off, but we need to do it clean. This is a real radio show, real radio station, not internet, so we are governed by FCC rules. We got to keep it clean. Anyway, we're going to go back to Paxton, to the good general, the commandant. What's going on with that?
Commandant.
Vice commandant, okay.
He did add as well to put aside some people that might be a little worried about this, as I am. He said, quote, "This does not mean that we will not be able to respond to the call. It does not mean that executing our defense strategy or responding to emergency crisis may require more time, more risk, and incur greater costs and or casualties."
Yeah, well, we all know the logistics behind all this stuff. You know?
But he did also say that the intelligence and communications battalions would be unable to execute their full wartime mission requirements if called upon at this very moment.
Yeah.
It's a scary thought. We've stretched ourselves so thin that we have no home defense at this point. I mean, thoughts?
They're doing this on purpose.
The sad part is, folks, it's going to come down to us, the veterans, that are going to have to come up again. I mean, if you look back in history, the reason why Japan did not invade mainland America is because there'd be a blade of rifle behind every grass. A rifle behind every blade of grass, as I was.
As you were there, Sonny.
As I was. Check that.
Anyway.
A rifle behind every blade of grass.
And that's the truth. That's why. And you also had the situation on the Atlantic side where U-boat commanders would see these yellow planes with the red stripes. They were Civil Air Patrol.
Mm-hmm.
Flown basically by veterans and everything else. I mean, yeah. There's heck to pay with us. But anyway, I still think we were trained better than everybody else was nowadays. Okay, so I might not be able to move like I used to, but I can be smarter than I used to be.
How's that statement go? Not as mean, not as lean, but still just as green?
I think
and
it's
still just as mean?
Yeah. See, you got that one wrong, too. What's going on?
We still bleed green. We're different than the regulars.
No, I'm a blue blood. Remember that. You bleed green, I bleed blue.
Okay.
Anyway, it's quite interesting. They're saying we're not ready. We'd have no force protection. What's going on?
I don't know. It's a scary thing, especially coming from the vice chiefs of the different branches.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't even know what to say. I'm at a loss for words here too. You know, how did we get to this point? How did we get to? You know, it's coming back down to the point where we're probably going to need another selective service draft. Because I mean, how much can we put our boys and girls through? I mean, Rhode Island alone has had, 7 deployments to Iraq and Afghanistan, the most of National Guards?
Rhode Island National Guard's been the highest of them all, yeah. Yeah, I wonder how that happened. I don't know.
You know, and again this week, Pacific Fleet Commander Admiral Scott Swift, based in Australia, warned Wednesday that if the United States lost access to international waters claimed by China in the South China Sea, it would have far-reaching implications beyond the military spectrum. I mean, where are we losing our grip as a superpower?
The day we apologized to the rest of the world. Remember that back in 2008?
Agreed.
Yeah, that's what happened. Sorry to say that, but sometimes you need to have that authoritarian type of attitude in the world, especially in the world we live in today. I've lived abroad. I've been to many places, and I've seen where, man, a lot of people, they don't like us no more. I don't really think they ever did anyway, but now it's even worse.
Well, I keep up hope and praise that we will return to the, I don't want to say might because that sounds too authoritarian, but to return to the greatness that we had. And it's still there. It's just, it's in us, surviving in us. Let's hope that our lawmakers and our politicians can start that as well.
Yeah, but it's not up to our lawmakers and politicians. It's up to us itself. I mean, we're the ones that have to step up and do what we need to do. Show the rest of the world who we are.
So in other news this week, any thoughts, Sal, on Putin pulling out of Syria?
Don't trust them. They're Ruskies. That's my first thought.
Well, them pulling out is also, unfortunately, easing up on the attacks on Syrian rebels and ISIS.
Mm-hmm. Why?
Because they were in a supportive role of a joint nation against ISIS.
Mm-hmm.
So them pulling out is a major blow to our offensive strategies.
Who says it's our offensive? We're talking ISIS here.
Well, this is why I want to get your thoughts on it.
ISIS basically has been paid for by us, and there's plenty of proof out there. We arm them. We use them for different things. We used them quite a bit too for the Arab Spring, as well as the Muslim Brotherhood.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw how that came back to us. I mean, we can go back into recent history and we can see what Al Qaeda did. I mean, they were working for us, the Mujahideen. Remember them?
Well, before they were Al Qaeda, they were the Mujahideen.
Yeah.
And we trained them to fight the Russians in the 1980s.
You weren't here yet. But anyway, I was. I mean, this is what happens. Now all of a sudden, they're coming back and they're biting us. Sort of like
but if I'm not
dog.
mistaken, the Russians went into Afghanistan in the 80s to try to curb the control of heroin coming over the border into Moscow.
That's what they say. I mean, I don't really see what reason there is to go into Afghanistan except for their poppy,
Unless you're
fields and
trying to
everything
get
else.
opiates out of your country.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I don't know how that is.
In other news, we touched on it a little bit last week, Sal. Phoenix VA Hospital. The VA is firing 3 top officials at the VA hospital in Phoenix, Arizona.
This week.
Yes.
Really?
As of yesterday, March 15th.
For what reasons?
Well, VA Deputy Secretary Sloan Gibson on Tuesday identified the 3 as Associate Director Lance Robinson, Chief of Health Administration Service Brad Curry, and Hospital Chief of Staff Dr. Darren Deering. Phoenix VA became ground central to the wait times scandal that eventually revealed that officials across the VA system were hiding their inability to meet appointment standards by keeping secret lists of veterans seeking care.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good to see that some people in higher positions are finally being held accountable for their actions. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I would. But how far is this going to go?
Hopefully it peters off into other VA systems. Again, folks, we are open mic this evening. Feel free to call in. Give us a shout out on any of your feelings, thoughts, participation on any of the subjects, or if you have another subject that you would like to touch on here on Veterans News Radio. Again, our number is 401-769-0600 or toll free at 1-800-949-9674.
Okay, so we've got this stuff going on with Phoenix. Yeah, I'm seeing that. 3 more Phoenix VA officials to be fired over wait time scandal. Why are they just being fired? Why is no one going to jail? Why aren't they bringing them in? Why aren't charges being filed? Why no indictments? I don't understand.
Well, I mean, not just fired, but if we're looking at the chief executive of the Phoenix Hospital, it should also be said that he's denying his Hippocratic oath. Therefore, he should be losing his medical license to practice.
Yeah, but the VA's hired plenty of doctors this way. Just go to poisonveterans.org. You'll see the type of doctors they hire. I mean, VA doctors exposed.
Right.
That's how that is.
Well, looks like we have a couple of callers.
Okay. Hit that one first. There you go. Welcome to VNI. You're on the air.
Hi, this is Pam.
Hey, Pam.
Hey, I'm going to voice my opinion if that's okay with you guys.
I'd love it.
Perfectly fine.
Hi, Dennis. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I can't complain. Well, I can, but it wouldn't make a difference.
Sure it would.
So what's on your mind tonight, Pam?
The Fort Mac issue with toxic exposure and the fact that the VA put the notice on their website just cranks me up because they're not doing anything about it. And when I call for the supposedly health coordinator, which is the person you're supposed to contact, they don't know anything about it, and they say until the VA or the government does something, we can't really help you, so why post it?
It sounds like a bad episode of Hogan's Heroes. I see nothing, I know nothing.
I know nothing. And all that.
Sergeant Schultz, I believe.
I know
his name was.
something.
Do you?
Yeah, I know something of a lot. We have been FUBAR'd. That's what I know.
I know what that means. I do.
Well, most of us
And
here will.
I'm just repulsed by the fact that they thought they could post it and do nothing. That angers me.
I believe that was just something that they did to shut us up for a little while.
Placate the masses.
They
a little
just
bit.
don't understand that the masses are a bunch of yellow jackets ready to swarm out and sting now because we're getting very upset.
Well, yeah. I mean, you open the door so you can peek in, but you keep everything shut.
Right.
And that doesn't pacify me. I'm not pleased by it, and I won't settle for it. So whatever we can do, I'm ready. I'm here, and I'm able.
Well, here's an idea. I mean, people out there listening, if anybody comes up with any type of idea, give us a call. Let us know what they think.
Or
Obviously.
you can post your ideas or comments on poisonveterans.org.
Yeah, they can go there.
You can also visit us, Veterans News Radio, on Twitter as well as Facebook, and send messages. They come directly to your host.
Well, I agree, because I'm in my late 50s with MS.
Sorry to hear that.
It's life. It's what I got from it. And I would still be working had I not been diagnosed with this horrific illness that jerks me out of bed every day and keeps me from sleeping more than 2 hours a night.
Now, are you currently getting help from the VA?
Oh, I went to the VA? That's a fascinating story, but you don't have that much time. In short, when I told them what was going on, the doctor looked at me and he said, I've never heard that before.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, where are you from? But when he left the room and he went next door, he failed to understand that those walls are paper thin.
Right.
And I could hear him tell everyone, she's complaining of toxic exposure at Fort Mac. What should I tell her?
So he knew what you were talking about.
Oh, absolutely. And there were more than 3 people in there because I could hear them laughing when he said that.
Wow.
And then they said, tell her you don't know anything about it, and until they tell you anything different, there's nothing you can do, but you'll take her blood.
Wow.
Well, you took my blood in basic.
Yeah.
If you didn't keep a record of it, you're not getting it again without a fight.
Well, rest assured, dear, that we're doing everything we can with other people and other groups and going down to Washington and trying to get to the bottom of this.
Well, if you find a way that you want to do a march or something, or you want to do something large in scale, truck drivers, bikers, everybody load up and come on.
The truck drivers would be a wonderful idea.
Oh, yeah.
Problem is, every time they want to protest something in D.C., they always do it on the weekends. We need to do something like that during the week while they're still in session, not at home.
And when does session end for them?
Well, it's usually Tuesdays through Thursdays. They usually go home, for Friday. And then, of course, they just take the regular vacations,
Don't
I believe July, August.
Yeah.
Right around there, that's when they take the time off. But, I mean, a lot of good it is to go to for a protest on a weekend. Nobody's going to be there. Anyway, Pam, we've got another call on the line.
Okay.
Thanks for your call.
Thank you. And you have a great night, dear.
Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Hey, welcome to Veterans News Radio. You're on the air.
Hi, Sal. It's Lisa Joe.
Hi, Lisa.
How are you?
I'm okay.
Well, good. I'm calling in. I just heard some of what was being said of them. Well, anyway, my opinion on what was being said was that if we want anything to be done, we have got to have, there's one word, plain and simple, unity.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have any unity in this fight.
No, we don't.
Everybody wants to do their own thing, and everybody wants to stand back and, talk all this stuff about Fort McClellan. But when it comes time to do something, nobody wants to jump up and say, I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
40 or 50 people can't do it going to Washington.
Right.
It's not going to happen. It's going to take everybody jumping in. I don't care if you're in a wheelchair. If you can't get around, it's got to take everybody.
Well, what we need
Go
to make a national stand is something the size of, if you remember the government shutdown when they had the honor flights down in Washington. We need that size amount of people.
I agree, definitely. And, most of the time, I think I'm not the only one, but I feel like the VA, they throw us a little bone here and there just to keep us satisfied, make us think something's happening.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to do for us, but I think, they are waiting for however many of us can just die off, so they don't have to worry about the rest.
Well, that's the story. That's what they do. They've done that with the Vietnam veterans. They've done that with many. The problem is, I'm not going to let them get away with it.
And now they're starting, as we spoke of earlier tonight, with the Gulf War veterans in this Catch-22 bill they have.
Well, it breaks my heart that not only myself, my children, and my grandchildren have suffered since birth. And I'm still, I suffer through many health problems, and so does Sal and Pam, and all of us do. Mm-hmm. I'm at the point where I am just kicked off. I am just past being mad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not fair. Somebody needs to step up and take care of us veterans that were exposed at Fort McClellan. My gosh, they knew for 40 years they were poisoning us, and but it's okay, I'm guessing,
Mm-hmm. No, it's not okay, but
it's not okay.
But we need to get that through to these people that don't know any better. And the sad part is that most of them don't know any better because they're civilian.
You're right.
They've never put their name on that dotted line.
That's right. Well, also, too, I wanted to say that I just posted a citation on my group, Fort McClellan, or Toxic Veterans from Fort McClellan, that BVA was won by a veteran for toxic exposure.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can go on there and print it or save it.
What was he awarded for?
It was diabetes and neuropathy.
Okay, and what was the reasoning?
Well, I haven't read the whole thing yet. I just posted it, and you got to excuse me, I've been at doctors all day from
That's fine.
fighting this asthma here. So, but it is a document, a citation that was won. So if you can go on there and get it. And
I believe there's probably like 4 or 5 of them that have been won in the years.
Yeah, there is.
Unfortunately, those things don't set precedents because of VA laws.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make sense.
Mm-mm.
I mean, to me, it's totally wrong. One person gets it, and then somebody else has the same problem, but they're not going to get it.
I know it.
I mean, it's like a game. To them, it's a game. They're having fun. These people are the ones that turn around, and they end up getting bonuses for the more denials you have, the more bonus you're going to get.
Exactly.
I mean, it's a game. They're using us as game pieces. We're pawns.
You are absolutely right. I agree.
And then when you go to the VA, that's the other story. I mean, I've got a lot to say too right now. I'm not such a happy camper with these people anymore.
No.
I mean, you guys want to live, don't go to the VA.
No, that's what I'm saying. I am seeking out for civilian health care now, and because if this is a game, I'm not having very much fun playing this game.
No.
All my Monopoly pieces are going to get burned. But if that's the case,
right?
I'm not playing anymore. It's not fun.
I hear you.
I'm not going to sit back waiting to die. That's why I, seeked out for a disability attorney. That's going to help, because if we don't do something, we're just going to sit back and we're going to be dead. And what's our children and grandchildren going to have? No answers.
We'll see what we can do. The fight's not over, as you know. You know what we went through trying to get funds to get down there, and, fortunately for a couple of people, something happened. But, right. I'm going to say this again. People need to stop being couch activists, because that's what they are.
You're right.
We can do this, we can do that, but from your couch, and you're not going to do anything else. My health is not that great either. I came back home really, really bad after going. So I don't want to hear it when somebody turns around and says that. Just don't, because my health is just as bad. And sometimes may even be worse than others. But anyway, okay, Lisa, I appreciate for the call.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
And we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate everything you're doing.
Thanks.
Okay.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
Okay, well, this, this is what we get. This is the stuff that's going on.
Before we go to a quick break, I want to touch on something here. Maybe we can touch on it a little bit after the break, too. Callers withstanding. This was just released 2 days ago from Camp Foster, Okinawa. The 16 ships that participated in the U.S. efforts of relief for the Japanese nuclear meltdown in 2011 at Fukushima are still showing exuberant amounts of rads of radiation.
Of course they are.
To the point that now the sailors and Marines that were stationed on them are starting to get sick, and the VA is denying this as well.
Well, of course they're going to. Think about it. They put you in harm's way, and all of a sudden, oh no, well, we didn't have anything to do with that. We don't know anything about that.
The list of sailors and Marines who have joined the lawsuit is making its way through the courts, has grown to 370 as of right now. In early 2014, Congress ordered Assistant Secretary of Defense for Health Affairs, Dr. Jonathan Woodson, to investigate the claims. Woodson reported back to Congress defending the military's response and safeguards that any illnesses that the sailors have developed since the operation are not the result of the relief campaign, he said.
Well, what's the result from then?
But yet the United States Navy is still scrubbing these decks and still decontaminating these ships because they're claiming it's bad for the ship. But it's okay for the people that were stationed aboard them. So we can try to touch on that a little bit after the break. And again, our lines are open tonight. It's 401-769-0600 here on WNRI 1380 AM.
Hey.
Hi.
This game's supposed to be in Iraq. Is this what it looked like when you were over there?
Sort of.
Shoot, I died. I'll shut it off, okay?
Okay.
Grandpa called earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So, you want to watch TV?
Either way.
When a vet comes home, the silences can be deafening. You may not know what to say, but we can help start the conversation. Visit supportyourvet.org. A public service message brought to you by Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America and the Ad Council.
Let me ask you a question. When you think of the American Legion, what comes to mind? Is it the way we fight daily for our veterans to get them the benefits they've earned through their service?
I work hard every day to make sure that our veterans get the benefits they deserve. I am the American Legion.
For nearly 100 years, the American Legion has been our nation's leading advocate for veterans and their families.
I am the American Legion.
This is today's American Legion.
To learn more, visit legion.org.
Veterans News Radio, brought to you by Midstate Gun Company, 1200 Tioga Avenue in Coventry, Rhode Island. A full-service firearms retailer for Rhode Island, offering a full line of firearms and accessories, from the industry classics to the latest innovations. They stock handguns, rifles, shotguns, and black powders, as well as accessories spanning from targets to cleaning supplies, cases to storage, ammo, mags, loaders, and Midstate also buys, consigns, and trades firearms. And now Midstate Gun Company proudly presents to you Rhode Island's first public indoor firing range, including 12 25-yard rifle and pistol lanes. Midstate Gun Company has RSOs, handgun, rifle, and shotgun qualified instructors, offering instructed range time, basic and advanced firearm classes, and free blue card testing. Whether you are new to the sport or a serious competitor, stop by Midstate Guns, 1200 Tioga Avenue, Coventry, Rhode Island. Call 401-615-0669 or email info@midstateguns.com. They'll be there with the help you need. Midstate Gun Company, proud sponsor of Veterans News Radio.
Let me ask you a question. When you think of the American Legion, what comes to mind? Is it our assistance programs that help the spouses and children of our fallen soldiers keep food on the table?
I'm working to help the families of our fallen soldiers know that they are supported and taken care of. I am the American Legion.
For nearly 100 years, the American Legion has been our nation's leading advocate for veterans and their families.
I am the American Legion.
This is today's American Legion.
To learn more, visit legion.org.
Rhode Island Uniform and Supply at 1395 Atwood Avenue, Suite 109 in Johnston, Rhode Island is Southern New England's center for police, fire, tactical, and outdoor apparel. Winter items are now on sale throughout the month of March. Great savings of 20% off all in-stock winter items right now. Nursing scrubs are now in stock as well. And if you don't see what you're looking for, they have many different styles and prints that can be ordered. So come check them out. Rhode Island Uniform and Supply Company, 1395 Atwood Avenue, Suite 109 in Johnston, Rhode Island. Open Monday 9 to 8 and Tuesday through Friday 9 to 5 p.m. Closed on weekend. Rhode Island Uniform and Supply, Johnston, Rhode Island. Proud sponsor of Veterans News Radio.
Back to Veterans News Radio right here on WNRI 1380 AM on your dial, Woonsocket, Rhode Island. Well, I have some unfortunate news that just came in. WPRI Channel 12 is reporting. It seems that today a veteran Massachusetts State Police trooper died Wednesday following a crash on the Massachusetts Turnpike. Trooper Thomas L. Clardy, 44, was pronounced dead after his cruiser was struck during a traffic stop in Charlton, according to police. Mass State Police, Massachusetts for everybody else, said Clardy was a U.S. Marine Corps veteran who joined the department in 2005. He leaves behind a wife, Risa, and 6 children who ranged in the age of 4 to 17 years old. According to police, Clardy pulled over an SUV in a traffic violation at about noon on the westbound side of the highway after speaking with the driver. Police said Clardy got back into his cruiser and he began processing the traffic stop. It was then a car in the left lane swerved to the right, crossed the 3 travel lanes, and slammed into the rear of Clardy's cruiser, pushing it into the SUV and into the grass area along the highway. Eyewitnesses told police the car was traveling at a high rate of speed. The cause of the crash remains under investigation. Upon arrival, police said first responders administered CPR to Clardy before transporting him to the UMass Medical Center in Worcester, where he was pronounced dead. The driver of the car, identified as David Jaguna, 30, of Webster, was also taken to the hospital with serious injuries. Police said Njunga was criminally summoned for negligent operation of a motor vehicle and failure to stay within the marked lanes, but further charges could be pending as a result of the investigation. Well, that's too bad. I'm sorry to lose a brother like that.
To the trooper's family.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes you hear this stuff and it's kind of bothersome, but there's something else that's bothersome, isn't it, Dennis?
I know we generally don't talk about politics on this show, especially current politics, because we're a very neutral, very bipartisan format with veterans in this country. However, I know you probably take offense to this, and I'm taken back by what was said this week by presidential candidate Hillary Clinton in regards to Libya. And she was touting her position when she was Secretary of State. And, quote, Libya was a different kind of calculation, she said. Quote, we did not lose a single person while I was Secretary of State, end quote.
She must have been dreaming, or is that when she fell in her head?
About Benghazi? She didn't lose a single person in Libya.
Well, maybe she didn't want to lose them. Maybe she wanted them gone. Sorry, I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but you got to be. Listen, a lot of people may not realize this, but that night, I was at a commemoration for 9/11 at the U.S. Naval Base and the U.S. Naval Air Station, Sigonella in Sicily. When all this stuff was going down, I was by the comm shack, and we could hear everything going on. They had already had a couple of C-130s ready, at the ready, on the tarmac, full of Marines. And by the way, they were the new Spec Op units, ready to go in. They were told to stand down.
MARSOC.
Stand down. I couldn't believe it.
Oh.
I really couldn't.
I really hope that somebody, I mean, maybe not calls her out on this, but at least points out the fact that Benghazi did happen. Some people seem to forget that it happened. Whether or not we needed to be there to get Gaddafi out is up for a separate discussion on a separate show. But to say that we did not lose a single American while she was in, it's just a spit in the face to the American military and to the
these people's families
of the United States that know better.
What about the families?
Right.
What about Stevens?
Right. Ambassador Stevens himself.
Seriously?
And the Marines and the private security men that were guarding the embassy in Libya.
People, we need to wake up. We see what's going on out there.
Dirty politics is not going to solve the situation with veterans.
I don't want to be a political activist in any way, but you know what? Be very, very careful what you do when it comes time for primary at home, or else when November comes along, because, and I'm sure people are going to take offense to this, but hey, this is America. You're allowed. I'm allowed my opinion. You're allowed your opinion, and that's fine.
We're voting for the future of our children. Don't forget that. Don't sell out your children just to find yourself in a better place. We need to think of the future and the next generations as well.
Anyway, so Benghazi, if you remember, this person, Rice, what was her name? She was the ambassador to the UN. She's the one that came out with the announcement about it being a video that someone put out, and that's why they did all this stuff. Of course, afterwards, that was forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, that was, just brought out right to it, saying, no, that didn't really happen. You remember that famous video?
Yeah.
Why were they so hell-bent in blaming it on a video? Why did they even allow this stuff to go on for 13 hours?
While watching via drone and satellite feed.
I don't understand. I don't understand. I mean, these people should be, they should be scraping their faces off. I'm sorry. They shouldn't even be looked at in public anymore. They really shouldn't. And when they do that, that would be just like us. Okay, we're somewhere. Next thing you know, they leave us out in the middle of nowhere. And guess what? We're there to fend for ourselves, and there ain't no help coming. What are we supposed to do then? Let's see how they're going to explain that to our families and our loved ones we left behind. Wow. Just guys, remember what to do come November. That's all I can say. I'm not going to tell you who or what, but just remember who. who is saying certain things and doing certain things. And then, of course, I mean, you know I have a feasibility committee going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
So this is going to get interesting for me, too. We have a committee going on for feasibility for my campaign to run for Congress. And so far, it looks pretty good. It looks like, a press release is going to be coming out quite soon. And we'll try to see if we can make somewhat of a difference because, you know what, if we don't fight for this, nobody else is going to be able to. That's how I see it. We can't look at it through our pockets. Anyway, Dennis, I see you're making some faces at the monitor. No, I thought you found something. I'm having a very bad night tonight. I'm sorry, guys.
I'm just a little taken back by that statement. You know, I mean, 4 Americans and 7 Libyans were injured in the attack in Benghazi. We lost Ambassador Christopher Stevens and Sean Smith and CIA contractors Tyrone Woods and Glenn Doherty.
Yeah. So what do we turn around and do?
One last caller before we wrap it up.
All right. Hey, welcome to VNR. You're on the air.
Hi, is this Sal?
Yes, it is.
Hi, Sal. My name is Mary in Garcia. I just got a notice on our Pastor Fort McClellan website to give you a call.
Oh, thank you.
You're quite welcome. Thank you.
What can we do you for?
Well, we need to, as veterans, we need to get it out about Fort McClellan being a toxic site from 1935 to 1999.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of veterans who served there have been exposed, and we're just asking for the VA to create a health registry so that we can all be taken care of. I myself have served there during my basic training in the days of the Women's Army Corps, and I now have debilitating issues that they can't explain. Issues that concerning with miscarriages, female cancer, my teeth cracking and falling out of my mouth for no apparent reason. I have a high bone density. That doesn't make sense to me. Bone issues, my thyroid.
It's surprising me that you say that about your teeth because I have this similar problem and I wasn't anywhere near Fort McClellan. I was on the other side of the country in California.
Okay, near a toxic base. You're near El Toro?
No, I was in San Diego as well as Camp Pendleton.
Okay. Well, a lot of the issues where you understand that Fort McClellan had many...
My father was at El Toro, though.
Okay, so it may have been...
could have been hereditary as well.
Exactly. I have a friend of mine whose father served in El Toro during the Korean War, and he's having many issues as well. And it's just looking to have the VA could create a health registry for us. Now, the VA does take care of me. I have problems with my heart that they can't figure out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on oxygen, and they tell me at first I had COPD, which COPD is not curable. Okay, my breathing has improved since I've been on the oxygen and so on. They redid my PFQ, which is a pulmonary function test. I no longer have COPD. Where did it go to? What's going on? There's something chemically wrong going on inside our bodies that we just want to find out the reasoning, the testing for it, and help us.
Mm-hmm.
Help us to live. That's all. Help us to live.
Well, we're with you with this. I mean, I'm sure you know about my little escapades about going down to Washington and what have you. I, for one, as well, half of my mouth, all my teeth are gone, too. It's just happening as much as you want to take care of them.
Exactly. But why? Why? Do you have any idea why it's happening to you?
We were exposed to something. We were absolutely exposed to something. Why? We don't know. While we're trying to find out, we are. You know, Poison Veterans right now, the organization itself, we're trying to put together a scientific team for research. Unfortunately, this stuff costs money. And I guess people don't understand this, and that's why we have a donate page and everything else, because until we get the scientific community behind us, I don't really think we're going to get anywhere.
Right.
We need proof. We need proof on paper. We need, medical publications. We need all this stuff. But anyway, we're about run out of time.
Thank you for your call.
Really appreciate your call. And we're going to be back next week, and hopefully we'll have something real interesting.
Okay, we'll have Lisa post their websites, and we'll take a look into it.
All right, so it's
the website.
poisonveterans.org.
Okay, all right, cool.
All right, you can actually see our accomplishments and everything else, too.
Okay.
Let people know, spread it around. It's all about Fort Mac right now, and we're going to go from there. But thank you very much, sister. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you too, brother. Take care.
All right, take care. Good night.
Bye-bye.
All right. I guess that's going to wrap it for this week. We'll see you guys next week. Look, everybody stay safe. And remember, we got your back.
Wish people a happy and safe weekend.